Call the meeting to order. If we can, let me get my Pledge of Allegiance, please. Thank you. Pledge of, we already did that, but roll call.
Councilmember Cole?
Here.
Councilmember Wong?
Here.
Councilmember Nordby?
Here.
Councilmember Schwer is absent. Mayor Monge?
Here. Can I get a motion to adopt the agenda, please?
So moved.
So move. Councilmember Norby.
Second.
Second, Councilmember Cole. All those in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Okay, okay, thank you. Presentations.
First up for the presentation is the Utility Box Art Competition winner.
Yeah. I haven't seen it yet. Mind if we go down there?
Yeah, yeah.
I'll take a peek. Couldn't see it from here. You go ahead.
Okay. I just want to congratulate Julie Zhang, so you can come on up for being our Utility Box Art Competition winner. She is a North High grad, so we're really excited.
It's really pretty. Nice work.
And this will go in the utility box just right outside of North High.
We all go down
So she actually did 2 pieces for us, and I just wanted to ask her, what was your inspiration?
So my inspiration was just like the nature around North St. Paul, and like whenever I'm around North St. Paul, it always seems to be a really happy energy and positive environment. So I drew flowers with smiling faces and kids, because I feel like the city's really centered. Where at least where I have seen its involvement is that it's really like caring for like the younger population, as like there's so many parks around the towns and stuff.
Thank you so much, and congratulations. What are you doing after high school?
I'm going into something around youth, and then I'm going to the U of M. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yay.
Should we get a picture of her in front of the newsletter?
Yeah.
I think that'd be good.
You only
yeah.
let her get halfway back. Should have waited till she was further.
Come on, everybody, let's go down and. It's such a good job. We'll make sure we get you on that newsletter. Wonderful. Come on over, Tim. All right.
I can
That's
share it.
fun. I love this part of the job.
No kidding. Great. Next up for presentation is Steph Smith is here for a development proposal for 2393 Margaret Street, directly across the street from City Hall here.
Yes, thank you, Brian.
Welcome.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Stephanie Smith, and I want to thank City Council for allowing our team to come out and present our vision for the development for 2393 Margaret Street, which is here in North St. Paul. But before we get into introductions, I just wanted to talk a little bit about the history of North St. Paul and how it's been an inspiration and why we would want to do the project. So North St. Paul was actually incorporated in 1887 by Henry, and Henry did a wonderful job with helping to develop St. Paul, and he was a father, a soldier, he was a politician, and just overall entrepreneur and a humanitarian, and just really served his community. And he settled in 1868 with his family at the age of 27, and he just brought a lot to the community. And he actually, from the time that the city of St. Paul was incorporated in May of 1887 until December of 1887, he was actually able to develop businesses and factories and a brick schoolhouse and churches, and just a lot that he devoted, and even 80 homes within a 7-month period. And so that's really inspiring to us, and we just would like to to honor him going forward and just carry on his legacy and have the opportunity to develop the project and serve the community of North St. Paul. So now I'll move on to slide 2. So once again, just introduction. My name is Stephanie Smith, and I'm one of the owners of Dynasty Housing Network, LLC.
Hi, my name is Cameron Smith, and I'm also a member of Dynasty Housing Network, LLC.
So we've been in business for about 1.5 years, and the business was created because of our passion for homelessness initiatives and just wanting to preserve and increase workforce housing that is affordable for families that have moderate incomes. And so we've been working a lot on our personal development and training. We've been attending city-sponsored meetings for emerging developers. We've been attending also trainings through Minnesota Multifamily Housing Association, Greater Minnesota Housing Fund, Urban Land Institute, and just really developing those partnerships and learning a lot about development. And for our partnerships, we'll actually have a Greater Minnesota Housing Fund that will also help. They have an emerging developers program, so they'll be a part of a lot of what we do and support us in a big way. Also, and so Gretchen, we've been working a lot with Gretchen, so she'll be helping us. And then also LISC, Local Initiative Support Corporation, will be working with Gretchen over there, and they'll be supporting our project as well if the city of St. Paul allows us to develop it. And then also Schaefer Richardson, we have Paul Schaefer, and who's the owner, and then also the senior developer, Claire, will be working with us in a mentoring role as a developer, since this will be our first development and we are emerging developers. So if the city of St. Paul allows us to develop this project, this will be our very first development as emerging developers. And then from the construction standpoint, as a mentor, we have Aaron, who is the construction executive at Cross Anderson, who will be helping mentor us through the construction process. So we have lots of support, and it's been just wonderful just meeting people and networking and just getting the support for us to try to do this project for the first time. So. And then also we have different capital stacks. So we've got a combination of developer equity. We've got Greater Minnesota Housing Fund, LISC. We have U.S. Bank that will also help with the project, and working with Miranda over there. We have J.P. Morgan Chase working with Diana, who will help with the funding. We have Metro Flippers, and then also a combination of grants that will also support the project. So we can go to slide 3. So this project will be mixed use, so a combination of commercial and residential. So the ground level will be commercial, and then the upper levels will be residential, so a total of 4 levels. And this will be workforce housing, so the target market will be working families and individuals that have an income between 40 to 50% area median income, and then maybe 3 units reserved at 30% level for people with disabilities. And for the commercial space, we were envisioning 3,000 square feet and then having 2 separate businesses share the space, and then having separate patios outside, for to separate entrances for the businesses instead of just one business taking up the 3,000 square feet. And then also for the residential unit mix, we'll have 10 studios at 500 square feet, 14 one-bedrooms at 700 square feet, and then 6 two-bedrooms at 1,000 square feet. So the project timeline goal that we're looking at, we're hoping, what we want to do is get the letter of intent to purchase the land signed so that we can show that we have some form of ownership, and then we can go ahead and start the land surveying and the environmental testing by September, because we need to have the ALTA certified, we need to have the land surveyed and certified, and then also phase 1 of the environmental testing complete before we can finalize the financial transactions for the whole project. And so we would need to get that, underway in the summer. So if the project is accepted, we want permission to start doing those processes in July and August so that can be completed by September. And then there's also a small vacant building on the land and some trees, so we want to take care of the demolition by either December of this year or no later than spring of next year, and then the construction process would start in the spring. Okay, slide 4. Okay, so for construction costs, we've got, between construction costs and developmental costs, we're looking at about $10.2 million for the whole entire project. And construction cost would cover the 30 units that would be built. Also, the commercial space, the underbuilding parking, which Cameron's going to talk about a little bit more later, and then the additional parking for residents and guests that will want to have in a separate parking lot, and then an elevator to accommodate those residents that may be in a wheelchair, and then also the demolition and the landscaping. And then, so annual gross income we're looking at is about $464,037. The annual operating expenses, which included $35,000 that I budgeted in for property taxes, I'm not sure if that's the right property tax for City of St. Paul, would be $159,500, so leaving us with the annual net operating income of $304,637, which comes out to be a little over $25,000 a month for the project. And then turn to page 5. So for our site plan, we know that the setback is about 20 feet going north and south directions from the constructed building. And then we would also, for the commercial part, we would want to have patios outside the commercial part, so separate entrances and then patios, and then those businesses would be serviced by either food industry, so we've got maybe thinking a coffee shop and maybe a sandwich artist shop, and they're all just, combined and sharing that space for commercial. And then also for the elevator, we'd want to have that set in, and I think that's a great opportunity to be able to build a property with an elevator, because you don't see very many new developments that have elevators to accommodate people with disabilities, and just opening up that as an opportunity for the diverse population that's here, or that could be here. And then just making sure it's an energy efficient construction project, so a solar panel on the roof, and then HVAC, plumbing, electricity, LED lighting, energy efficient windows, insulation, thermostats. All of that will help increase the net operating income eventually. And then, so we've got all that taken care of with the site plan.
Then on slide 6, as you can see, the parking garage is actually, underbuilding parking. It's going to be on the same level as commercial. And it will hold about 14 parking spaces. And the entrance will be on the north side of the building. And then on the south side, there would be additional parking for residents and guests.
And then on pages 7, 8, and 9, that's just an example of the unit layout of how it would be on each level. So we'd have 10 units on each level, 4 levels total. Combination mix of studio, 1 bedroom, and 2 bedrooms. And then if you go off to page 10, oops, sorry. I just wanted to mention that our project will revitalize the community. It'll increase economic growth opportunities. It'll do so much for the community and bringing everybody together. And it kind of makes me think of how times used to be, like back in ancient civilization, where you had people that owned their homes and they used part of their homes for living and then the other part for selling cakes or pies or candy or anything, and just kind of brought the community together. So this could be something like that. It'll be a mixed use, multifamily development, and you have the commercial on the bottom, and then you have the residents in the upper levels, and then there'll be job opportunities open for those that even live in the resident part. And then this whole project will just increase job opportunities overall from all the different specialists in the real estate industry, as far as construction and mechanical, plumbing, all the different specialties. It'll create quite a few jobs. in the industry. So we are very excited to have found this opportunity. And I just was checking online and just looking at the comprehensive plan and just happened to call and say, hey, is there any city-owned land that we can develop? And I found out the answer was yes. And I'm like, oh, well, let's just go for it. And just, we had a meeting with Brian and a few other staff, and we were welcome to come here and present it. So I'm hoping, we are very excited that we like for the city to accept our proposal and agree to sign our letter of intent to purchase the land so that we can show that we have some site control and we could start the processes of land surveying and environmental testing and finalize some other steps with the project to be able to start construction in the spring if you will support it. And we have plenty of support from the community, from professionals, from developers, construction experts that are willing to partner with us on this project. So we'd like to know if the city is in support of it, if we can have a letter just showing that you're in support, a letter from the City of North St. Paul, Housing Redevelopment Authority, Economic Development Authority, just so that we can include it in our package for our financial presentation to the banks and our financial partners that we have support from the city on this project. So thank you for your time and then the opportunity to present this, and we'll now open it up to questions or any ideas.
Thank you very much for your presentation.
Thank you.
I guess one question I have is, what is your concern being right across the street from City Hall with the fire and the ambulances with the lights and things like that? Because that won't change. Is there a concern with being directly across the street from something like that?
No, there's no concern at all, not with that. I think this will be the prime opportunity, the fact that it's downtown and it's a more open community, everything's in walking distance. I don't think that would be a problem at all. I really don't.
Thank you for your presentation. I appreciate the focus on 50% AMI and 30% AMI. That definitely fits within our housing study and the needs of this city. So I appreciate that. In terms of the commercial space, it says there are two different businesses. Is there an opportunity for that space to be modular or be one big one, or is it specifically just two spaces?
Yes, we've thought about some different options for the commercial piece of it. We've even thought about designing it as a condominium piece, and a business that would want to own their own space instead of leasing, they could purchase it. So we've thought about maybe one business being in the unit. So just kind of coming up with some ideas as we were brainstorming on how we could present it and just the opportunity in the downtown area.
Thank you.
With the new Lilly building going up over here, as you can see, it's starting to
Yeah, I
take
see
shape. And
that.
that's the first level, is what we're shooting for, is live work. So
Okay.
they're gonna divide up the same, kind of the same concept, but, actually living in like the half of it or things like that. So that's part of the North St. Paul, different businesses, they lived above it or they lived behind it
Yeah.
back in the early days. So that is something that we've been looking at too. I'm hoping with.
That's awesome. So I just want to stress that we have plenty of support with this project going forward. If the city does accept it, we do have those that are experienced in real estate and development and all the different areas that we would want assistance with to be a mentor to us in this project. So we hope that you will accept our proposal.
Thank you. It's my understanding that this needs to go to planning, or?
We would need more input from planning, correct?
Oh, there's a chair.
And again, I want to thank you for your presentation. This is wonderful. My understanding, though, is we won't be able to vote on the letter tonight, just because of the bar we've held other
Okay.
people with a project like this too, and the information we had before we discussed a letter of intent or MOU.
Okay.
There's a few steps that we need more information before we would. We just recently had it fell through, but Mulcahy, a former developer, wanted to, and we held them to certain steps.
Okay.
So to be fair and consistent, I feel that we have to hold these wonderful people to the same steps. Is that a fair and accurate statement?
Same standards, correct?
Okay.
Same process.
But don't feel that we don't think your project is awesome.
Okay.
What do we,
I was going to ask for, what's the date of the next planning commission off the top of our
planning commission?
head?
The next planning commission, right now, there is not one scheduled in July, because it's the 4th of July. So the next one is in August, I believe.
Would there be any way to have like a private meeting with planning to just present it and just kind of get an answer if we can move forward, so would be able to stay on task with the project at all, or?
We could put out an email to the planning staff to see if they can get a collective number to get a quorum for a special meeting.
Okay,
It would be a special meeting, just to be clear, and not to get technical on it, it would be a special meeting that's still open to the public. It wouldn't be a private sit-down. So it'd be like this forum, the public could watch and observe, but it would be a special meeting.
okay. And then after the special meeting, what would be the time duration deciding if the city would sign like a letter of intent? So we would show that we have some site control, if that would be possible, or how long would that process take?
Have you said there's other interests too?
I have talked to another developer that has shown interest in it, that has said that they are trying to put a packet together as well.
Okay.
There's a number, when a city receives these kind of requests, there's a number of aspects that need to be explored. One is simply, when a city controls the site, then that of course means, is the city committed to the proposed use that's being put forth? There's the terms and conditions of the sale, what is that? What does the letter of intent look like? There's the degree of, one of the, bedrock principles of government is giving everyone kind of an open, equal access shot. And so if we've only got one perhaps proposal, then that makes life a little easier, I suppose. On the other hand, if there's multiple points of interest, what does the process look like to vet them all and give everyone a fair shot at it?
Okay.
And so that's a number of moving pieces. It's complicated enough when it's just a development to kind of sort through that and then decide whether, when I see, and I'm not suggesting that it's going to happen, but when I see support from the other agencies, is there going to be a financial request of the city associated with this? So does that get built into, say, TIF financing? Does that get built into the economic write-down of the sale price? There's a lot of things to work through all of that before we get to the picture boards and do we like
Okay.
the end product?
Okay. So
Certainly
next step
appreciate
would
your time coming
be
in.
a
I will
plan?
email
Okay.
out for, see if we can't get a special meeting together.
Okay.
We'll start with that step, and then I will be in touch with you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you,
Thank you so
everybody.
much.
Nice meeting you.
Thank you so much.
Show you this presentation.
Thank you for allowing
Thank
us.
you very much.
Have a great night.
You too, appreciate it.
Good night.
Thank you.
All right, consent agenda.
All right, consent agenda. Item A, June 4th, 2024 workshop minutes. Item B, June 4th, 2024 regular meeting minutes. Item C, general claims of $1,156,825.88. D, HRA claims of $8,956.17. Item E, declaration of surplus for the fire department. Item F, resolution accepting donations for May of 2024. Item G, liquor license renewals for 2024-2025. Item H, approval of new tobacco license. Item I, special event permit for Newman's Vintage Speakeasy, Inc. And item J, League of Minnesota Cities waiver for the Economic Development Authority liability insurance.
Thank you very much. Anybody want to pull anything? Nope.
I'd like to pull I.
Aye? Okay. Aye, please. Anyone else? If not, I'd ask a motion to, or we'll move aye down and motion to pass the rest of them.
So moved.
So move. Councilmember Cole.
Second.
Second, Councilmember Norby. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. All right. Appreciate it. Meeting open to the public at 7:03. John Schmall, please.
Mayor, Council, John Schmall, 2750 Chisholm Avenue. I think it's in North St. Paul. First issue is an attaboy for Councilmember Nordby. At the last meeting, the subject was dealt with in changing the hours for Casey, and it seemed like the council was in its stage of not coming up with an immediate decision. And it took Councilmember Nordby to say, and turn to the present, or not to the present city manager, but the city manager, our city attorney at the time, can we have a temporary setup? Before, it seemed like they were going to go to having staff come up with a policy decision and put it off to this meeting. And I'm not the only one who thought that that was happening. But an attaboy for Councilmember Nordby for taking charge and saying, can we have a temporary? And the city attorney at that time said, sure, we can have a temporary. And out came the 10 o'clock change, or change to 10 o'clock for closing the parks. Now, I'm surprised today that there isn't an agenda item that finalized this. There's nothing on the agenda finalizing this. Unbelievable. So there were these temporary signs that were put up, and they're gone now. I don't know what signs are there at this time. If you hadn't seen the temporary signs, I'm sorry. But there were paper signs put up at entrance places changing the time to 10 o'clock. The one that's on Chisholm is gone. The other subject is the intersection at Buell and Mesabi. I've been driving by it for 49 years. And I've looked at that intersection. That particular intersection has sidewalks, both on Mesabi and Buell. And the two houses right on Buell, or at that corner, actually fronting onto Mesabi, have no boulevard, but they've got sidewalks. And it has been a change in the last couple of years that you put a sidewalk in that's on the curb, as example, on Lake Boulevard, where the sidewalk is on the curb and the city is obligated to plow. And this particular site has that situation and has had it for 49 years. I called the Public Works Director a year ago and said, hey, you need to get with it on plowing that particular spot, because I'd hate to deal with a plow drift that's sitting right on a sidewalk. That's like moving concrete. And I never got a call back. It's the first time that the Public Works Director never called me back. So I know my time is running out, but I was in my driveway, car drives up, guy says, hi, John. I don't know him. And so I finally started a conversation. It turns out that he lives on that corner. I said, how do you deal with that snow? And he says, it's tough, really tough. The woman across the street contracts, and they have to come in with a skid steer in order to move the snow. So my suggestion here at this time is you treat those two people with that sidewalk situation like you treat the cake eaters on Lake Boulevard and the other people on
Thanks, John. Your
Ariel.
time's up.
Thank you.
Thanks, John.
Gary Blease, please.
I'm Carrie Blease. I live at 2887 Lake Boulevard, and apparently I'm a cake eater.
Yeah.
So, just to set the record straight about Lake Boulevard and the plowing, I do shovel that sidewalk after the city goes by, the snowplow goes by. Sometimes there's still some leftovers. I just shovel it because I think it's nice to have a nice, clean sidewalk out front. It doesn't come out clean after, the multiple vehicles have attempted to move the snow. Anyway, that's my 2 cents worth on that. Thank you for the conversation tonight during the workshop about the community center. I really like to hear all the questions that you asked. I like to hear the answers that are coming forth. I think it's a really great conversation to have. I think that what Attorney Soren Maddox said, you guys are going to need to come back to that. Is this the right thing to do? Is it the right location? Is it the right thing at all? Is it 20 years? Is it, and that's some more wrestling. That's a lot to do, and to look at the legislative language, and are we committed to doing those exact things? And Dan Winnick said, well, what if, in 6 years we can't get that kind of programming anymore? Then are we in default of the legislative language? And those are really great questions, and you got to wrestle with it. And is it the right thing to do that money or do something else? I don't know. But thank you for continuing the conversation. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gary.
Right, meeting, work my way down, closed to the public. I don't think we have online anymore, so. City business, please.
We have item I brought up from the consent agenda for a special event permit for Newman's
Oh, that's right.
Vintage Speakeasy, Inc.
That's me.
Yes, sorry about that.
The only reason I had it pulled is as I read through it, I didn't see if there was going to be a structure built, if it was going to be a tent, where anything was going to be put. And I see some of this was a, so I didn't have enough information just to give it the blanket move forward. If it is to be done in back, I know that the parking lot behind them is a parking lot. I don't know if that counts towards the number of spaces that they have to work within. Historically, when Newman's has asked for events, it's been a one night or one weekend event, and this is through the end of the year. So I would anticipate them to probably come back next year and ask for the same thing. Questions around the liquor license and the boundaries in which it's put. I don't know if that includes this space, because I believe they have to provide a footprint from a liquor standpoint. And the other concern is there are apartments that enter from that back area and noise. So I just wanted to bring all of those up because I didn't have answers to them based on what was just presented here.
Good point. Lilly Building will be opening this fall, right?
Yeah.
I can answer what we can, and I will actually ask Riley, our new community development director, to come up as well.
Come up. Yeah.
Put him on the pressure.
New guy.
So I know historically they had put up a tent. That is not what they're looking for here. They're calling it a fenced-in area. But their property, I believe, goes straight out from the edges of the building for property line. So they weren't taking over what's next to it, which is the other buildings that have the apartments up above. But I will turn it over to
Mayor,
Riley.
Council, thank you for allowing me to come up here and speak on this. I apologize, this was probably all created and thought of just before I became a a member of the city staff, so I wasn't privy to any of the conversations leading up to this, but typically, something, you know, I would see something like this. This is common amongst other bars that I've experienced. I do have a question about the liquor license. I know that typically those are contiguous to the building itself, and whether or not service of any alcoholic beverages are going to be, you know, out of that boundary. It seems like, you know, they have a bullet point in here that says they would not, will only serve inside the building. You know, there could be concerns about that, especially bringing beverages outside. We would have to double check the liquor license on that.
It also does state in it that they would allow the items to be brought outside.
Yeah,
of
that's
the area.
my
So that-
point, yeah. And I would have to double check their liquor license to see if that's allowable or not, or if the state would allow something like that. But, you know, typically, I have seen these, I think, Councilmember Cole, you are correct. I've really only seen them in, you know, one-off, one weekend, one-time celebrations. This seems a little odd, that it's multiple times throughout the year, and you're right, they're gonna ask for it next year if you approve it. So I think we need to be a little bit careful about approving something like this. It looks like it would start June 25th. And so if you don't approve it tonight, they would have to push that back. But you know, I don't know what the history of Newman's Bar here in the city in terms of holding these type of events, if they've asked for something or if other businesses have had similar events like this.
I think one more question might be, is this going to be considered an outdoor seating, and where there would have to be a SAC fee charged with it as well?
Yeah, typically, I think with the SAC fee, it would be with outdoor seating, if they're being served out there. I think they're trying to probably get around that by saying only service will occur inside the building and not outside the building.
Makes sense.
So that would be my assumption. You know, in terms of parking spaces, yeah, they would be taking up, obviously, parking spaces on these specific dates. I know that there's the city-owned parking lot kind of back behind there, so there is at least available parking in the general area. But I would imagine that something like this would draw a fair number of people each of their events, so there is concern about parking too.
And then the other piece was there was no dimensions as to this fenced-in area.
Yep.
I mean, are they going all the way
if a
back to
tent's gonna be
Sepulveda, or are
required,
they?
and, you know, if you're doing tents, you worry about weather knocking that down and safety concerns, so.
So, those are my only reasons for putting a pause on it, guys, is just I had questions, so. For me, I'd like a little bit more information before I give the nod, but I'm one of, what, 4 votes tonight?
I think those are all reasonable questions and certainly something for us to know in terms of navigating risk. Is there a way in which we could gather the necessary information approved based on collection of the appropriate information? If that makes sense?
This is where I point to the attorney.
He put his glasses on, so we're serious.
Right. I think, given the nature of the questions, sometimes I'm comfortable with a conditional approval, but candidly, the information you're requesting is something we would bring back to you and say, are you okay with it? So I'm reluctant to say conditioned on staff approval of these things. These are questions you've raised. So I think the questions you've raised are important. They're part and parcel to this kind of permit to make sure that it's adequately addressed. So I don't have a problem with postponing the approval tonight, simply rolling it over to your next agenda, allowing staff a little time to collect those answers and just bring it back to you for approval. And assuming that those questions get answered, it can certainly be on the consent agenda or a regular item. But those should be easy enough questions to gather up in the next couple weeks.
I agree.
Question for you, now that you're in this new role. When you look at that permit, did they just not fill things in, or we did not ask the right questions? I mean, that's where, because sometimes, you know, they give the information you want, but is, you know, do we need to clean this up where?
That's a really good question. I don't know the answer to that. I don't know what that process looked like prior to me becoming a city staff member. I know that had I been here, I would have required them to come in and I would have asked them these questions, and I would have required them to give me some sort of documentation on what they are and what they aren't doing as a part of that approval component, but I don't know what was done prior to that.
That's fair, that's a fair. I just want to see if there's something we can, because, sometimes you fill it out, you think you did it all, then all of a sudden it comes back, and now we're, back and forth, where if we can, hopefully you can look that over and see if maybe there's something where we
Yep.
make that a one-stop thing.
I think part of that's.
There's a
our
motion to
transition.
table it till your first meeting in July. That might be appropriate at this point.
All right,
I'd like to make a motion that we table this until the first meeting in July.
all right. Councilmember Cole, second that.
Second.
Councilmember Wong, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Nay?
Nay.
Nay, okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Riley.
All right, thank you very much. All right.
All right, reports from city manager and departments. So we're putting a lot of time into the budgets lately. We have a second meeting with PD. We'll also be getting together with community development this week, going over finance, and then internal services come Thursday. But just moving along, and then we'll move on to the CIP coming back next week after the July 4th holiday. Electric's been busy with getting the conduit bored into the ground out there at Jennifer Lane area, now in Ariel. That's all in the ground now. They've been doing pretty well for pulling the wire in and getting the equipment in behind it. They've went out and looked at the Taco Bell site for getting the power in out there. That's going to be one of those quick builds. They're kind of like the quick trips where they get 4 months, it's up and going. So it's pretty quick turnaround. Public Works clearly been busy with lots of mowing, and with all the rain, unfortunately, trying to keep up has been difficult. The student-built house is getting very close. We were actually going to initially schedule the open house for next week, but turns out that there's a bunch of cement work that needs to be done. We're trying to get that coordinated, and that's been pushed off due to the weather. So I'll come back with that soon. Fortunately, after about a year now, we're going to have a mechanic start on Monday.
Yay.
Very much, yay. I don't know if you guys have driven by the Housey Park, but that is really coming together nice out there. It's not going to be too much longer. They'll get the nets in for the pickleball, but it's looking really nice out there. But that is my update.
Thank you very much. Reports, commissions. Councilmember Norby.
On Thursday the 6th, we had a wonderful planning commission meeting where we got to meet and talk with our new staff member, and the whole planning commission kind of went through some of their history, and it was just a great kind of a get-to-know-you experience, and really, really pleased with the planning commission. I inherited a great commission, so thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much. Councilmember Wong.
Yeah, so as for the Arts and Culture Commission, I think there's been a lot of conversation around the Snowy reveal and the Snowy project. So I think that was an incredible event. The energy was great. People were really excited. And it was just a really wonderful nod to our community. And I think it was really well done. And a big thank you to the commissioners, Amanda, C., and Laura. They've put in so many hours, and then also city staff as well. There is a map available for people to kind of go to different Snowies and see where they're at. And a big thank you to the businesses and artists as well to beautify our city. I've even heard that there's somebody running to all of the Snowies as part of their exercise routine is just to run to all of the Snowies. So hey, that's a good plus.
Mayor put theirs in Maplewood?
They'd be a little shorter.
That'd take me out.
And as for the utility box project, the commission's working hard on that. They were at the car show with the art cart. They were also taking photos of people's hands in a heart shape, so that will be collaged and part of a utility box, I believe, near Casey Lake. So I'm looking forward to that one. The meeting fell on July 3rd, I think, so the commission decided July 12th would be their meeting date. And so that's the next one at 6:30 in the chambers.
Thank
That's
you
all I
very
have.
much. Appreciate it. Want to say pass it to me?
I'm going to say pass it to you.
All right, thank you very much. We had our EDA meeting, we had our new members that have been, joined us. So we have Max Diner, Brandon, how do you say his last name? I still can't do it.
Bramshire.
What is it?
Bramshire and.
Ramshire? And I'm
Peter-
gonna try Peter Gagliari. No? Gallardi. Dang it. I do that every time. So these guys are going to be tough. So I told them they got to figure out some good Scandinavian names to help me out. So, but it was nice. They joined us. We were able to, we talked over some of the things about the facade, and we're going to be meeting again. We're going to continue. We've been looking at maybe going to every 3 months, but until we get our footing, and talking about the Lilly Building, which is going to be opening up here in the fall. And part of our deal was that we got a year to be able to get some businesses down there, so we want to make sure we work really hard to be able to get some businesses in. So I think it went really well in the meeting. All right. You, go ahead, what'd I miss?
Nothing, I missed. Ava, could you please come up here? I'd like to introduce you officially to our city council.
Oh,
So,
welcome.
I'm Ava. I'm the new Communications and Community Outreach Coordinator.
Oh, great. Well, welcome aboard. Hello.
Nice to meet you.
Appreciate it.
so where'd you come from?
I'm from Canada.
Hey.
Hey.
I just moved to the U.S.
Oh, welcome.
My first job here.
Oh, didn't get too far out of Canada, just decided just to put your toes into Minnesota to see how it goes? Oh, good. Yeah, oh, did you?
Yeah.
All right, we got to talk. Well, welcome.
Yeah.
So who are you rooting for in the Cup? Who are you rooting for in the Stanley Cup?
Oh, I'm not.
Ah, okay.
You were asked to leave Canada. Welcome.
Welcome.
So we have both of our new employees here, and they've both been working out wonderfully.
Oh,
and doing
great.
a good job, so.
Yeah, she did a great job with the newsletter and
Yes.
yeah, Project Snowy. So appreciate
No,
that very
well.
much.
Great. General business. Councilmember Norby, anything?
None at this time,
All
sir.
right, bud. Councilmember Wong.
Yeah, I just wanted to highlight that I received an invitation, I don't know if you all did as well, that there's a completion of the South Shore Trail at White Bear Lake, and that connects to McKnight and County F, so just down the street from us. And then happy Juneteenth. Tomorrow the offices are closed. It's a celebration of the end of enslaved Black Americans in our country, and that's 2 years after the emancipation. So big day to celebrate freedom.
Thank you very much. Councilmember Cole.
The only thing I have is hats off to Councilmember Wong and the entire Arts and Commission. The Project Snowy was phenomenal. I was fortunate enough to be able to attend. Great turnout. It was great. It was to see the artists and the companies who put their hard-earned money against the Project Snowies, and to see the smiles on their faces and to see the pictures being taken. It was really something cool.
Thank you very much. I agree 100%. It was a wonderful turnout, and it was good to see everybody there, and some of they were such a diverse group of snowies that was really fun to see. Shifsky had his hat on with his, so it looked just like Tom. That was fun, and then, so yeah, it was a great time. And for your answer for, I don't know if it's been put in yet, but Premier is supposed to go into Dorothy Park.
Okay.
I don't know if it's been done yet, because it's so wet.
Yeah, we'd
what
bury
I
equipment to get in there right now.
Yeah, I didn't think I missed it going by it. but Okay.
I
But
think
that's
they
where it's
put it
supposed to
in
end up.
This afternoon.
You think they did?
Yeah, from my understanding, that's the yellow one
Oh, I don't,
with the flowers on it.
Don't
Dorothy? Yeah.
Oh, it did, good.
I think they, I think they
Anybody-
delivered that this
Did
afternoon.
you drive past it? It was a pad yesterday. Okay, it was a pad, that's a good deal then. Where they got it placed? Is it towards the street more? Towards the street from the playground. Okay, oh, good.
They got it in. Good.
I drove past there and I didn't notice. So. Nobody waved back to me. I didn't notice anybody standing there either, so I'll have to pay better attention. All righty, nothing else? Motion adjourned, please.
So moved.
So move, Councilmember Cole.
Second.
Second, Councilmember Wong and Norby. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Thank you, everybody. Our next meeting, July 2nd.